111.
111, 1, 2, 3.
111, 1, 2, 3. B-Hop, the executioner, the alien, unified the middleweight division, one of the greatest fighters of all time, one of the greatest middleweight boxers of all time, Philly's finest, on the I Am Rapaport Stereo podcast. Looking fantastic, looking fantastic, Bernard.
Listen, ducking pays off. I mean, you have to, you have it pays off, man. And of course, you know, taking care of yourself in between those victories and defeats, you must be conscious of that to be successful long term. I got 28 years, almost 3 decades.
Did you fight 28 years?
Started in 1988,
and
fresh out of penitentiary.
See, you're gonna get me. I'm not gonna. We're gonna get.
We're gonna jump around.
We're gonna jump around.
I started at 25 as pro, but I started boxing through a generation of mother and father, brothers, uncles on each side of the fence, basically, or parents. I started boxing like 7, 8 years old. Golden Gloves, AAU.
Okay.
Coming to New York, going to Ohio State Fair. That was the big thing.
I didn't know that. There's no way I'm going to be able to take on the life and times of Bernard Hopkins in one podcast. So, like you said, I'm going to jump around. We're gonna move. We're gonna roll a shoulder. We're gonna throw a jab. I'm gonna duck. I'm gonna throw this. It's gonna be like that.
Correct.
Because I can't get the life and times. You were telling me before we started, your daughter just graduated college.
Pace University, absolutely.
I didn't want to blow you up. Pace University, which I would be so proud of.
Yeah, I am. It's not only a great thing for her, but it's a great thing for the legacy that I'm building, and I've built. Now is to pass the baton through the family and be the first one in the family to be able to establish going into generations, whether I'm here or not, to enjoy. It started here with me on this level.
In your darkest hours before fighting, you mentioned being in prison. A lot of people know your story. I want to, get into it somewhat, but like I said, I can't take on your whole life because even though you look 35, 34, maybe 30, some might say 36.
Right.
How old are you now?
34-ish.
You feel 34-ish. How old are you now?
I'll be 59 January 15th.
Can't do an entire Bernard Hopkins life and times in one podcast. In your darkest hours of your life, the darkest times, darkest months, years of your life, did you ever imagine you'd say, my daughter just graduated Pace University?
No.
Why not?
Because I didn't think I was going to be actually alive, let alone successful until I went through certain stages in my life and I wanted to prove people wrong, which became a habit. It became really a good habit for me, not only in my personal life, making right decisions to not go back and repeat or violate a parole. I use that as a voice in my ear saying you can't, and I'm gonna show I can. I'm gonna show the world I can.
One of the things that I know a lot of people are, and I'm certainly fascinated by it, when you were fighting, you always stayed in shape. You never got too far off of weight. You still talk about, you still show and prove taking care of yourself. Some say you live a monk's life existence. I don't know if it's the same now.
I heard that.
When you're training.
Well, I'm 4 pounds over my fighting weight, which was almost 7.5 years ago.
Which is crazy.
So 2 of that is say water. So I'm right on weight. I'm right on weight. If it was a week from today to fight, I'm right on weight based on narrowed down the weight 3 to 4 pounds a week before the fight. Come on. And most of that is water. Like I said, 2.5 of that 4 is water.
And that's good living, good eating, good genes.
It's a lifestyle. It's everything. It's all the ingredients you just said for success in my world. Absolutely.
Now, you're always chill. You're always calm. You were at the Gervonta Ryan Garcia. He popped off to you. I've always seen you as chill. You've even in the ring, your persona, your history, your sort of executioner, He's from Philly. This was his history, but you're always in control.
And that is a strategy.
But were you always like that?
No.
So who was the guy and what was the guy like before you were able to get yourself into self-discipline, control, controlling your emotions, controlling your actions, and really it's controlling the emotions, which will dictate the actions and so forth and so on. So when you were at your wildest, was your temperament different? Like what was your deal when you were, to get you into the trouble that you got into?
Aggressive, very aggressive with no thought behind it. I'll say that again. Very aggressive with no thoughts behind it. And that is really a quick exit to the grave. Well, is a quick reentry into the graveyard or the penitentiary for the rest of your life because you're reacting off of emotions, right? You want to prove that, and it might be justified, but the way you did it, the way you approached it, just like business, it caused you more harm or your life than anything. So I learned to actually, took a while, I learned through time and situations that I have to control because I do have a fight in me to fight all the time when the battle is not even right now or the battle don't need to be right now.
You still have that?
I still have that, but I pick those battles different now than before. A, because lawyers are expensive.
They're expensive.
Very expensive.
For everything and anything.
And then second, a lot of things you just can't, it won't never go away for life and you can't take that back. So I learned how through years that, wait a minute, the fight with Davis, a lot of people see what's in you. They might not ever tell you that, even your opponent. But while I'm chill and I'm cool, I let them think about what they see. I might not know that until I ask them, but I know because I feel what they see and I want them to see it. And that's where I learned how to use that more than use action.
You know what I'm talking about? That moment, because Gervonta...
That moment was a stare-down moment. We on D-block right now.
Gervonta and Ryan are staring down.
We on D-block, right? In my mind, we on D-block right now, and I'm looking at you coming down the block, and you look at me. We know something going on. It's been brewing already. 2 days ago, 3 days ago, 4 days ago. Right? You see my demeanor right now? Just got a little energized?
Yeah.
These are the things that I use from that part of life and injected and mastered it through boxing. I see through those guys. They looking at me on the stare down. We in the middle of the ring. The referee say, come. And they give us the last rules, which I call the last rites before we fight. I'm looking through them. They looking at me. There's a difference, and that's why they have us stand there. When you look somebody, a man in the eye, when you look a person in the eye, they didn't have to speak verbally from here. Their body language, the nonverbals, the way they look. And that doesn't mean you say, I ain't got to train. He going to lay down once the bell ring.
Right.
No, you put the work ethics behind that, makes you even more dangerous.
But when Gervonta turned around and popped off at you before his fight with Ryan Garcia, this is a young guy, a kid. This is a kid.
That I understood why he was doing that.
Why was he doing that?
Because I'm fighting you, Ryan Garcia, which my team is fighting you also. There's Golden Boy Promotion and there's PBC, right? Right?
Yes.
Right? That is the company. And you got also Floyd Mayweather involved. So you have that chemistry rival, even in the ring when Oscar and Mayweather. So you have that energy going around. You have that all week it's been crazy. Like all week leading up to that fight, it's been crazy. They try to have a seat for me at the table. So I made a table, told my security, grab the seat. I made a seat at the table. Then they turn around and say, no, you can't get in the ring. They try to get me banned from the stadium, but the commissioners wouldn't go for that because they said Bernard is trying to help them from they looked at the video, they seen they're trying to stop them from moving closer to the edge, which was 6 feet down to the ground. No fight would have happened. Everybody would have got sued if something had happened. And they couldn't stop me from being in the ring. Well, they couldn't stop me from being in the stadium, but they was doing all kinds of shenanigans. Now, this ain't calling something that I wouldn't do myself. This is all mind games.
Right.
I embrace it.
I get it.
I know how I got to pivot.
I get it.
So I understood it. The presence of power is not always money.
Right.
That's your backup. When they see somebody that's coming in as authentic as I've been and consistent, which most people are not, they wasn't too much worried about Oscar, right? It's not that he's the opposite or he is.
It's just his
Or he
disposition.
isn't. It's like,
He's the golden boy.
Bernard's going to come in, and Bernard's going to demand respect and not ask for it. But I'm not going to walk around like Debo, like a bully. I'm not going to walk around and try to, but when I see that's trying to be, been injected to me or at least presented to me, I had to react to it. So I felt like I was taking up for my family, which I was, even though it was the company. Like I felt like I was the most aggressive one in control, though. Out of the whole thing.
But that's the reason why I was bringing up that moment with Gervonta pre-Ryan Garcia fight was because you didn't react and you didn't say anything. Like, I respect Gervonta, but you didn't say, you bitch ass whatever, you ain't shit, you can't hold my... You just stood there.
And you asked me why. Because they wanted me to react, and I didn't. I knew the game. See, if I'd have reacted what they dictated previous years when I was fighting the Tito, the flag, and all that. Oh, he's going to do some crazy, and then we're going to have a legitimate excuse to, it could be this, it could be that. They're going to come at me with something, especially if they got the act on tape. Everybody got phone. They wanted me to react. And that's when I recognized that. From the day one I was there, the week before the fight I was there, they wanted me to react, and I didn't react the way they wanted me to react. So they tried other days, and it didn't happen.
Now, pre-Bernard Hopkins, the professional fighter, pre-B-Hop, the alien, B-Hop, the executioner, pre-all that.
I would have tore that stage up. Everybody was out. I might have been one of the victims, too, in that chaos. It would have been a problem.
But there was a time where you were not as in control of your shit.
It would have been on and popping. Everybody had been fighting.
Okay. The reason why
it would have been a problem. It would have been you've seen my behavior, and I'm going to use that word, behavior, prior to retiring, right? Tito, Trinidad.
That was calculated.
Very.
Smart.
Very, right?
We didn't know who you were. The layman boxing fan didn't know.
But they knew who, and I wanted to make it clear, you don't know me now, but you'll know me later. And these are the things of saying it and then doing it, and then letting people understand that y'all my biggest motivation. My biggest motivation is when people say I cannot do what I know I can. And that's what I wanted to establish. But that moment of history here, 9/11, in New York City, right? Part of my documentary. I was here. So it was a lot going on for me not to win that fight when it comes to what? When it comes to being focused, when it comes to the act of the San Juan, Puerto Rico with the flag, with the Tito, and the moment we are here in New York City, let alone, America, it was one of the greatest night, not one. I had a lot of them over the 28 years of boxing. But that night, here, down in Madison Square Garden.
The world's most famous arena, where Ali fought Frazier for 15 hard ones.
Come on.
Where here comes Willis, where Kennedy gave his inauguration, where Andre the Giant body slammed Hulk Hogan respectfully.
Yes, Hulk Hogan. And here's me. Like, I got history. I got the DNA history of previous events that went on, historic events that went on, and I'm part of that catalog that you just mentioned. Right? I'm not done yet. I'll go up and fight Tarver at light heavyweight, which Ray Robinson, only because of the heat that kept him from finishing the last 2 rounds of a 15-round fight back then. So I wanted to make history because one of my idols, Ali, Ray Robinson couldn't come out for the 15th round because the heat exhaustion. That's the only reason he lost the fight. I'm going up to light heavy. They said, you can't beat Tarver. What are you talking about? This man just did the last Rocky movie and kicked the hell out of Rocky. I said, give me Tarver. I'm going up to 175. Wait a minute, Bernard. You're going up from 160 pounds, from 160, 15 pounds. You're going up to 175, which no one ever done in boxing. Yes. Ray Robinson, they said, didn't achieve it, but he tried it. So I said, okay, if I'm going to stay in the game, I got to have something to chase. Listen, financially, I'm cool. I'm living off the interest and not the principal. I'm good. But what's going to keep me in the game if I wasn't fighting for just more than money?
Did you love it?
Obsessed with it.
Do you miss physically having that challenge, having that something to shoot for, having that 5 a.m., 6 a.m. run, having, your training with your late great trainer?
Bowie Fisher.
Do you miss all that?
Only thing that's cut out of all that is I'm not in the ring, but the training, the preparation of getting ready for any kind of battle, whether it's business, whether it's real estate, whether it's somebody trying to play me. You understand? It could be all those things. So the fight is in a different arena with the reform for boxing that I instigated.
I want to get to
over 15 years. So I understand that this is over for me.
Right.
But far as staying in shape, far as my lifestyle has been through boxing. My lifestyle has been what? Eat to live, not to die. And do the things, eat to live, not to die. And the most important thing is do for self. When you can do for self, and you can fall and get up and still continue to do for self and do for self. Listen, people respect that. I don't care where you live, what you represent. When you do for self,
right,
and you're capable of doing for self, we're
right.
talking about those people. We're talking about people that do for self. I learned to do that, but the lifestyle on top of that, the way I lived, even when I was active.
Right.
The only thing is out of that, I don't get punched. I don't go to the gym. I haven't had gloves on. I haven't sparred with nobody.
None.
I haven't done none of that clown stuff. I'm not pinning a circus act. Once I said I was done, look how I planned my life. Look how I planned my life when I got out. I was going back and forth through the juvenile, burnt that out, got certified. I had 15 years parole. I had 5 to 15. I had, 9 or 10 years to walk off in Philadelphia in the 80s. You know how New York was.
In the 80s.
Listen, we're in New York right now. You know how it was in New York City. You know how it was in any big city, especially Philadelphia in the 80s, and I'm coming home with 9 years parole, 20 felonies, 15 convictions, and
Damn.
I'm coming home talking about, and I lost my first fight in the Atlantic City Resort Casino, and you mean to tell me that you thought I was going to be a Hall of Famer as of June of last year? Like, only thing I can say is that the lifestyle that I've portrayed through my physical career,
right,
most of the time, we drop that when the career is over. And gotta mention no names, but it could be football player, basketball player, it could be boxers. They swell up.
Yeah.
They have diabetes. You waited this long to get diabetes. You gotta enjoy your labor. I was conscious of that then. I always had a plan, Rapaport. I always had a plan once I got of knowledge. I didn't have a plan earlier. I was just running wild just like everybody else. I come home in 1988.
It was 88.
1988 was the time I came home. It was out there. My first fight was in 88. I was so fast thinking and quick to get in the ring so I won't get caught up in the drug trade game in Philadelphia called crack cocaine that swept through the nation. I took on a fight 0-0. Clinton Mitchell was 9-0. That's how bad it is. That doesn't look like a fair, on paper it doesn't, right? I lost it, said, it was cool, but I ain't like it. 89 now, 90. I rebooted with Bowie Fisher. I ain't got to tell you what I did with your guy, Bowie Fisher, who you met many times. And God rest his soul, he will not be missed in this documentary one day when it's put together. Because, look, there's so many, you mentioned it before we started. We don't have enough time to go here and here and here.
Yeah, no, we don't.
But I'll tell you one thing for sure. I am a testimony of not only doing for self, and I had help from people, but when it comes down to the grit and balls to the ground, I had to be that man.
Right.
I had to be that man.
There's a lot to unpack from what you just said. I mean, you said eat to live.
Eat to live and not to die.
So are you on some vegan shit? Like what are you?
I was vegan right before COVID.
Right. Well, then why'd you stop? Because it became hard to be vegan?
No.
Why?
The nutrients I wasn't getting. And the supplements, because people are going to hear this podcast and they're going to say, oh, I'm a professional.
I know everybody's got it.
But hold on, he could have used this, I did, but I wasn't getting the nutrients. I'm still really, even though I'm always in 90% shape when I don't run as much, but I do get my cardio in a lot.
What's your cardio game? My
cardio game is rope, jumping rope. Also,
stop. Hold on. Are we doing rounds? Are we doing 20-minute sessions?
We're doing minutes.
We're doing how many minutes?
We're doing minutes, half hour, straight.
See, you just shitted on my jump rope.
But it don't seem like half hour. It's like 15 minutes to me.
You could jump rope for a half an hour straight?
Yeah.
God damn it.
Yeah. I'm talking crossing the whole 9 yards, having fun. We dancing. We call it dancing. Because when you jumping rope, Look how boring this is.
Yeah, it could be boring.
I can't do that. The jump rope, we jump rope like we're dancing. Or I was taught to jump rope like I'm dancing. Right? I jump rope to be funny. I'm looking at nobody's in this situation. I'm not dancing for a media crowd with the, fight coming, they watching you at the gym and you jumping and you showing off a little bit, having fun. To do that when nobody's in the room. Do that when you working out at home in the basement, right? Do that when you at some gym, whatever, working out and they got a rope. Right? This is the cardio where I ain't got to run outside for 5 or 6 miles. As long as I got that heart rate up, as long as I'm on that bike, I love bike riding, right? Not inside.
Not the Peloton.
I hate that.
Man, I know.
I need to move.
Got to go somewhere.
Plus, I'm newsy. I'm exurban. I want to look at stuff. Philly got a lot of bike trails just like New York. I get on that bike, I don't even know it. Seems like 2 hours, you out there 4 hours. You stop, you might get some coffee, you might see somebody, you walk, and next thing you know, you're on the other side in West Philly.
Right.
Starting from North Philly.
You just broke my heart though, Bernard. I'm when you said the 30-minute jump rope, because I'm on some 3-round shit. And you probably don't remember this, nor should you. I had the honor of watching Bernard Hopkins work out in spar at the Wild Card boxing gym.
Wild Card.
And
the Wild Card.
And it was
sir.
And
Freddie Roach.
The beauty.
The great Freddie Roach.
The movement. Yeah. I've seen it. And now you tell me, because I'm like, oh yeah, I'll tell my wife, Bernard, babe, I did 3 rounds of 3 minutes each. And now I have to.
And you bang your chest. I just 3 minutes.
No, I'm not. I'm not just banging. I'm on internet. You fucking cocksucker. I just did 3 minutes to 3 minutes each.
Yeah.
And now you're telling me at how old are you? 76.
Yeah, I'm getting close to it.
You're 50.
58. 59 in January.
You're doing 30 minutes of jumping rope.
Yeah. That's when the alien came in. That's when the second character came in. See, the executioner, then the alien. Why the alien? The media kept asking me over and over, fight after fight after fight. These guys are 25 years old, top contenders, some champions at that time. I'm in my 40s. Why are you doing that? I said, because I'm a fucking alien. So I came up with another brand. I told my attorney, I said, Eric, listen, you got this bad. I said, I want to use that alien. I started getting these Halloween was around the corner at that time. I told my guys, I said, look, I'm going to pay you extra. I said, and I got pictures. I got content of this stuff because I collected everything. I kept everything, knowing this moment one day was going to come. I got these green masks, the alien. You've seen it, with the eyes slanted up like an alien, which it is. And I said, this is what we're going to do. Because you know what? This here, and it's not only in sports. this here, the mind, the brain, this controls, not the arms, so this here, not the mouth, that can get you in trouble. And it might bluff a lot of people, right? But this here, this mind right here, right? And the mind in general, if it's used right and it's understood and trained right, and you realize what you have, no matter what happens, no matter what they do, you ain't gonna surrender to it. You experience, like, you understand the movie business, any business, so that you dealing with where you gotta have this, even if to wait out and be patient. And that's what I've done in my career. I didn't start getting big paydays until my, mid-30s?
Is that when it was?
Correct.
And Tito and then Oscar and then it was...
Yeah, it was over then because I promoted and managed myself till I teamed up with Oscar.
If you didn't wave that flag with Tito...
I was done.
You wouldn't. You might have just.
I had to.
You'd have been one of those guys. You'd have been like a fighter's fighter, right?
He's okay. He's extremely blue collar.
He's great, but
He's great,
we don't know who.
Yes.
Joe Schmo doesn't know who he is.
Exactly, and that would have been in that thing. So I had to create,
of course,
controversy. I had to say things, do things to get their attention. I was an attention seeker, right? Like so.
But not by your fighting style.
Not by my fighting style, because I had to be that. And keep that attention seeker in the back of your head. I had to do that because the lack of respect with belts.
Right.
And I had title defenses under these belts. Tito was coming to get my title. Don King had the two other pieces. William Joppy, Keith Holmes.
Right.
He didn't have me.
Did you have any comings and goings with Don King in terms of business dealings with him?
Most promoters, if not, Don is the first one. Federal court 3 times.
You went to federal court?
Yeah, undefeated. 3-0.
You're 3-0 in federal court versus Don King?
3-0.
Wow.
See, you do contracts, right? And I paid for all the depositions, so I kept them. Rapaport, listen, man, and again, I got so much content that I kept. Anybody that's in, and it's gonna say me pitching nothing, I'm just saying to you, anybody that's in the storytelling business, then you're not in the business of what I wanna do. Well, what do you mean? Well, I'm gonna flip the storytelling business into a life of Bernard Hopkins. It wasn't a story. It was a fact. It was real. And when I look at these depositions, thanks to my assistant Joy Tate and my sister Marcine, they've been helping me in these 2 rooms in Delaware. That literally I got plastic bins of audio tape, VCR tape still, interviews on radio shows in Philadelphia, New York, depositions of this, that, fighting. Just do what? To say it might have happened to the other guys back in the 70s, 80s, 70s.
And in the 90s.
But if it's $1 million here and I'm getting 300,000, I want to know what all the money's at, right? And I didn't know. I wasn't advanced like I am now, but I had enough sense to know that if it's $1 million and my taxes ain't even paid yet. See, we didn't get into that.
Damn.
Then you have to understand that everything can't be right off expenses. We know that old trick. I didn't know that back then.
Right.
You can expense everything.
$300,000 sounds like something.
You can expense $300,000 out on clothes, foods, everything to say the justification of why you didn't get this. But I understood that I had to learn the business. I had to learn the business real fast.
Real fast.
You know why?
Why? He's gonna be broke ass motherfucker.
Let me tell. Correct. And another thing is, when in case you didn't know, and I'm glad I'm saying this now because people be able to go research, because I like to do this. I like to say, look at that, and then ask you questions. But I can't, we ain't the time right now. The reason I'm one of the only fighters, George Foreman first, and then Bernard Hopkins, that receive Manager of the Year from the boxing associations. Every year we have a sort of like a boxing Grammy. They're gonna have one this year in New York City. Every year they have it. at the tavern.
Yeah,
in
yeah,
Manhattan.
Tavern on the Green. Oh, in the park.
Come on, man.
That's where I get my slow walks in, Bernard.
Yeah, I know you do. Very slow. It's out there. I see it. I sat there. The dog was in front of you, about 9 feet in front of you. I mean, this is madness. You're supposed to be at least in front of the dog, not the dog in back of you. You have to understand cardio. Cardio, you're supposed to move a little quick. Right, not the turtle snail move. You have to move a little
when
quick.
you saw me in Miami, the sweat
You
was
were sweating
like a pig. I was out there. Yeah. I'm rolling the shoulder. I'm doing.
And I'm glad you said that, because if you was out there and you see me, I had to see you see what I was doing.
But your shirt was
consistency,
off.
That consistency. No, you can give me this. You can give me that. I had the shirt off and everything. I didn't see your shirt off.
No.
See,
because I did that once. I cleared the beach. They tried to arrest me for indecent. Just a shirt off. They said it's indecent exposure.
Correct. I believe that. He didn't have his shirt off. Matter of fact, I don't know if it was a turtleneck, but it was hot. I knew you didn't have no turtleneck on, but you had a lot of clothes on, and you was just power walking, and we lined up on each other. We ain't say nothing. He looked, everything just stopped, and we look. And
then I switched stance on
you. You didn't know if you was gonna go southpaw or orthodox.
Exactly. And you saw that skill set in me, Bernard, and you recognize it, and you paused for a second. Like when you saw me switch from orthodox to southpaw, you were like, "Oh shit, Rapaport, he can."
And your stance was good. See, you didn't do that and keep your feet straight across.
No,
when you ain't got no balance. You had that thing like you fencing. Had the right foot in the back, or the left rather. Southpaw. You southpaw? Or dude,
southpaw. But I'm all screwed up. I'm all screwed up because
see, right hand, left hook, southpaws. You can't get away from this, and I can't get away from that left. It's who get there first,
and then it becomes probably a boring fight.
Yes.
Let me ask you a question, because the business of, I'm such a fan of boxing. I'm 53 years old. Boxing was a staple, mainstream sport growing up, as you know, obviously. The fights, watching the fights, and then going to the pay-per-view fights was such a part of my life. And, to see the sport change, evolve, to see guys that I know are great fighters, but can't even pronounce their names, and it doesn't mean no disrespect. It's just like, whether it was Mike Tyson, Muhammad Ali, Ernie Shavers, Ken Norton, down to Iran Barkley, Ray, Boom Boom Mancini, Sugar Ray, all of them, Aaron, all of them.
On and on.
The sport,
generation to generation. Excuse me.
No, but the sport of boxing, it competes with MMA, UFC, and I love MMA, UFC. I love it.
I've supported too. I know a lot of guys in Philadelphia that in Florida, who into that type of sport. I don't knock it. We got to step our game up.
That's what
we gotta listen. We gotta step our game up.
Go ahead.
Steady complaining about the bullshit and all this and all that. At the end of the day, Dana White is doing what Dana White do. Right? That's his business. But and I don't say that negative or positive. I just say he's a promoter. When you look at the thing, he started and built that to a want to see around the world sport. Boxing took a big hit because of the UFC. Would you agree or disagree?
100%.
Now, of our fans, how do we get that back?
How?
You make those Tank Davis and Ryan Garcia fight. You make the fights with Canelo. He's fighting Charlo, right? People look at this two big names, but it also has to be the best fighting the best. What we came up on. In the 80 era, Ray Leonard fought Tommy Hearns, Hagler, Duran. Like, we have to put the best against the best. How do that happen? Or why do that not happen? Because you have everybody to blame. Golden Boy, this promoter, that promoter, that promoter. If you're in the promoter business, it's easy for me to say, hey, it's their business. They don't want their fighters to fight us because we know we're going to win. You expect that. I've said this many times before, openly. It starts with everybody, including us, Golden Boy. Oscar agreed with it. They're going to hear this and they're going to listen to it because they know I'm talking about it. That's the only way we're going to get the integrity and respect back, or at least to the point of this era where people know that we are the most sought out, the most seen sport out of the 3 sports in the world or the nation right now. And soccer ain't gonna help us. That's just a different animal. I was at the game, see Messi in Philadelphia. Unbelievable. I'm looking at the crowd. Got a lot of love. But I'm also looking at how the sport that I love,
right,
that was part of what got me at this table sitting here talking to you, alive and well.
Right.
Right? Boxing.
Right.
We passed Harvard coming here.
Right.
I guarantee you ain't no student out of Harvard want to sign up and be a professional boxer. Boxing, it's embedded in certain cultures and certain areas.
Yeah.
Where if it wasn't, a lot of fighters you might watch, admire, like, even love, they had to basically be good at something else, just like they was good at that. They just didn't reach that top of the line. And that's what boxing gave me. That's what boxing give a lot of other fighters that's coming up now. Look, you follow me on Instagram, I follow you. I got kids on Instagram that a lot of them I know, a lot of them I don't know, and they got their hands up. And I'll be like, that's good. Fix this, that's good. And they look at us as people that they can follow behind. And I just want to let them know that chance is there if boxing is there. If boxing is not there, we're talking a whole new different thing. So I'm glad it was there for me.
If you were, and you are one of the people in control, but you can only control your business, you can only control your say in Golden Boy. But if Bernard Hopkins was in control of all of boxing, just you, what would you do? What would be a few things you would insist that would make happen to build the sport back to what it used to be and what it should be?
Day one, regulation. It has to be.
Explain this.
The regulation will be, it has to be regulated where it'd be a bigger power than the powers that govern themselves. In boxing right now, the people that govern themselves is the same people that can go against their own rules that they make. So basically you got the fox watching the chicken and thinking they're gonna be there when you get there.
And is the fox and the chicken, you're saying WBA, WBC?
Correct.
Would you make it like
the whole boxing
there's
sanctioning.
like NBA, NFL.
We need regulations. You need a union.
Right.
After that, you need to have boxing. Boxing right now has always been in business, even though we're in 2023, a red light district. A red light district.
Break it down.
The red light district
it's corrupt.
is corrupt.
Is it corrupt?
Of course it is. And it's corrupt in the way of what? Let me tell you how it's corrupt. It's not corrupt where the old mob days. Somebody come in, they got an envelope, there's none of that going on. It's corrupt by association. I'll say that again. It's corrupt by association. It's corrupt when I know who your fighter is with, you know who my fighter is with, but who got the stronger ties with that particular people, which they could be sanctioning bodies. So it could be the government of a sanctioning body. It could be somebody's power in that sanctioning body.
And when you say sanctioning body, you mean WBA?
So let me run them down. WBC, WBA, IBF, and the WBO.
Those are the 4.
They are the 4 strongest in order that I just gave you.
Okay.
If you have a relationship with any of those sanctioning bodies that is not professional on the lines of the boxing rules that they set, you will find out sooner than later that you ain't the pretty face in the building.
They'll take, doesn't matter how talented you are.
Doesn't make how talented
and
you
how
are.
actually pretty you are.
You just seen that decisions a couple of months ago where people are still roaring about, where you sitting there as a fan and you're sitting there as a judge. How did you not see the other judge? You got 3 at the table. What fight was you watching?
Well, what the fuck are we going to do about this, Bernard?
Now you understand what I'm saying.
But what the fuck are we going to do about this?
You know,
because it started to sneak into UFC where it's like, come on, man, we're not fucking assholes here.
Hold up. I got a solution.
What is it?
And I ain't had to go to Harvard to come up with this. That's why when you say corrupt, because
that's corrupt.
I'm not the smartest person in the world. Put it this way, I'm not the dumbest in the world. I'm not the smartest in the world. So how can I have the solution right away? I'm going to give it to you. First, you start with open scoring, which means that every time the bell rings for the next round, way before that next round comes, you know who won the first round.
Period.
The audience know who won the first round.
Stop. No, wait, but but before you go to that, I want to answer this. Me and you have one round. The first round. We come out, I pepper you up. What is the scoring of boxing? How does it work? The 10-8, 7-9, what the fuck is this shit?
The 3 judges.
3, it's ridiculous.
3 judges that's at the ring.
How can
Here, they're sitting there watching. Hopefully they ain't distracted, they ain't looking at nobody.
Hopefully they can see everything.
Hopefully nobody's calling, hey, Diane, or whatever they calling, hey, how you doing? And they throwing punches. But listen.
Lightning fast punches.
Lightning fast punches. Now,
and hopefully you can see, hopefully my back isn't turned to them.
We're relying on their vision. We're relying on their experience. We're relying on
no technology in 2023, which I think is stupid.
Boxing is still in the 50s, even though the money's changed.
50s, 30s.
Correct. So now we're talking about 3 judges sitting ringside. They all got scoring that doesn't match what we all seen. That's a big, big cancer.
Huge.
On boxing.
Number 1. That's number 1.
That gotta be from the gate.
No.
Then let me get the second one, because this is very important.
Okay, go ahead.
You know how those guys, they get in boxing, they say, hey, Bernard, I heard Don King, when beat up on Don King, and I'm not a crusader or a fan of Don King, but there's a lot of Don Kings out there today. Right? They just don't have the hair and all that stuff. There's a lot of Don King thinking. I said that way. That's a better way.
100%.
A lot of Don King thinking guys. But guess what? The Muhammad Ali Act, that's law today. My blood is on that.
Explain it.
Look it up. It's there. I was invited to New York City here by Senator McCain, the great late Senator McCain, and Elliot Spitzer, 15 plus years ago, to speak in front of all the dignitaries in Manhattan about why it should or should not be a law that protect fighters from the greedy slobs of boxing. And I had to speak in front of all of them, which I did eloquently.
Mm-hmm.
There are 3 other fighters there, all promoters, all managers, and less fighters. I told Oscar wasn't there. Roy Jones, these were the premier guys, Olympic guys, that they voiced. And again, we having straight talk. Roy wasn't there. Any other fight, James Toney wasn't there. All the great fighters in my era, I didn't see nobody there. But I was always the black sheep in boxing. I was always going against the grain of boxing, and that's why the big paydays ain't coming until my late 30s after Tito. I was 35 when I fought Tito.
Damn.
I was old then. They were saying he's old. Tito's undefeated. He's going to beat him. Just beat Oscar for that split decision, whatever, Oscar and him fight. So boxing has to go to when the Senate hearings was held by Senator McCain again and Elliot Spitzer. Why, Bernard? Tell all the dignitaries why this should be law. Because we negotiate in the dark. What do you mean? Well, in boxing, I don't know if the the business that you've been into the same way, I doubt it. The promoter gets a license fee from the network. The promoters today don't have to hustle like the promoters yesterday. What I mean is that the promoters today, they got major resources than 30 years ago or 20 years ago when they had to go out and get sponsorships and get this and get that and do the fight. Now you got TV. It changed the game.
Mm-hmm.
When TV came in, HBO, they need to get back in the race, but they out right now. Remember, they retired after 40-something years. The promoter will go to the network. I got Bernard and Oscar De La Hoya. The network say, great. The network might give them $10 million.
Uh-huh.
Then they go to the casino, and they use another casino so they can fight. You sit back there, watch the fight. He's going to give you $15 million, $10 million. He's going to give you $8 million. I'll take that. So now it's going to be at the MGM Grand. So now,
and MGM is paying that promoter.
Correct. They paying the promoter. Everything goes to the promoter. The promoter now goes and they negotiate with the main event, which is important. You want to get the main event set.
Main event being Oscar and Bernard Hopkins.
No, main event means the last fight of the night.
Right. I'm saying, let's hypothetically.
Well, hypothetically, yes.
You and Oscar.
Okay, fighting. We're the main event.
At 58 years old.
They make a deal with us, right? They make a deal with Oscar or our handlers, whoever our promoters are or managers are, right? You know, I didn't have a manager.
Mm-hmm.
I became self-managed when I realized I better be or I'm going to be broke.
Yes.
I won Manager of the Year. The only two fighters in boxing history that won Manager of the Year. Not because I'm that smart. I hire smart people to get their advice by salary, not by percentage.
Mm-hmm.
And I made the choice.
Stay focused here. Finish
so
it.
I'm going to stay focused. So I'm going to go back to that. HBO pays the promoter a license fee. Then you have a casino, wherever that casino at, right? Or stadium.
Right.
It gets another hit, right? So say you got $30 million, right? Now the promoter said, well, now, we ain't talking about the sponsors yet. We ain't talking about that. There's other stuff coming. We're not talking about the gate. They got gate money.
Popcorn.
Depending on how big the fighter is,
M&Ms.
he can get some of that gate, but very few get that.
Hot dogs.
Hot dogs. We ain't talking about the peanuts.
Pretzels, the whole thing.
All right, now listen.
A fucking beer.
Let's deal with the big numbers. Let's deal with the networks and deal with the stadium.
Those are the chunks.
That's the chunk. That's the big hit.
Mm-hmm.
We ain't talking about the foreign sales in it. We ain't talking about when they show it over there in another part of the world later.
London.
That's another hit.
Scotland, Australia.
That's another hit. That's after the fight's over with a year or two later and still royalties still coming. You never seen it. You didn't bought your Rolls Royce and you're happy thinking you're the baddest person in the world. But listen to this. Listen to this.
But Don King saw it.
Now you know why, right? I'm even more dangerous now because I still got this. It's not rattled around up there. Yeah. But listen to this. So now the promoter must do what? See what he has. Guaranteed. This money is there. One thing for sure, all the other stuff is gravy. This is here. He cut a deal with the star of the main event. Say Oscar, Golden Boy, the star, right? I know who I am. My ego can tell me this, but Oscar's a star, right? I was on Jay Leno that Monday. I was on Jay Leno that Monday with the belt. So
right.
That tells you you've done something.
Right.
So Oscar's getting 30. I got 10. Reporter said, Bernard, how do you feel that Oscar's getting 30 and you're getting 10? What? Trying to get me to shoot myself in the foot? I don't want this man to get mad and say, I ain't fighting him. I said, what are you talking about? I believe it was Bernard Fernandez from Philadelphia. And he said, Bernard, how do you feel that Oscar's getting 30? You only get, I said, when did 10 become only? I said, 10, I was on D Block about 9 years ago. Do you understand? I had to walk off 9 years parole and in the most terrible times in urban America.
Right.
And I'm getting 10 million. I ain't had to hit nobody in the head or flip them up down on the sidewalk. That took off, right? That statement is out there. So when you look at the numbers, and that's how that fight happened. With Tito was one and Oscar. when the promoters get that money from the networks and they sit there and they get it from other entities and they sit there, they do negotiate for themselves first, and then they put what they would need to put on the table. Now there's open disclosures.
Okay.
Because of the Muhammad Ali Act, you have to sign. Every fighter has to own up to some responsibility. When I said do for self, you have to sign that you looked at the numbers every in the United States. I don't know about Mexico. I don't know about anywhere else. But every state in America that has a boxing commission, when they have a fight there, and you're fighting, you have to sign. The opponent and yourself, you got to look first, review the papers, hopefully. You have to sign off before the fight the next day. You got to sign off that you seen and looked at these numbers. Whether you understood them or not, you have to sign off. My blood is on that. Like the Kirk Flood of this era. And anybody know who Kirk Flood is? Or was, rather.
Yes.
Right? Every person that understand who Kirk Flood was, he had a lot to do with them getting those millions now, today. Right? Would you agree?
Absolutely.
Rabbi? So I consider myself, I take that Kirk Flood of this era. And that era I was boxing because I was moved by people that was brave when others wasn't. Not that it wasn't good people.
Right.
See, not to jump off and go somewhere, but I'm telling you how my mind worked. I'll put it all together and you'll see I come right back to where I started. Ali, Muhammad Ali, whether we agree to disagree, Muhammad Ali, especially way back then, stood up and said, Viet Cong never called, and you want me to go and do these things, and I can't even go in a coffee shop because I'm black?
Right.
What are we talking about? What are you talking about? And these are the things that I believe a lot of people would love and want to say, but they just ain't got it in them.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't make them bad people.
Mm-hmm.
I evolved to know that they're not bad people because they're not like me.
Mm-hmm.
I know I'm different. And I've been consistent being different, and that's when they know that you're not a fraud.
Mm-hmm.
See, there's a lot of frauding going on, right? In all walks of the creation of what's going on in life, there's a lot of frauding going on. It's at its highest peak now, way before COVID. But COVID took it to another level.
100%.
You know, I told people, I say, you see all these businesses coming up, and you don't want to say or not say, but I am conscious what I say because once you open your mouth, you tell the world who you are. A lot of these fake businesses, a lot of these fake people that's running around, when this thing gets to level out like it is now, where they at?
I agree. I totally agree. I'm pivoting. Well, I'm taking in the Ali of it all. Is Muhammad Ali, obviously he called himself, he coined the greatest of all time. Now we have the greatest of all time rappers. We have the greatest of all time baseball players, the greatest of all time quarterback. Is Muhammad Ali the greatest of all time because of what he did in the ring or because of what you just spoke about? Why are we still... Why, when we talk about Muhammad Ali, why, when you talk about him, my heart still pitter-patters when you talk specifically about that? Why is he still someone? Can you even articulate what Muhammad Ali means to you and why he's the greatest of all time?
First of all, I am proud and honored that my mom gave birth on the same month of Muhammad Ali, days apart.
Just to be in the same month.
Correct. The GOAT, the Capricorn. The fighter, the hard worker, that see bullshit when they see it, they might not tell you right away. But they'll play along with it like you legit. But I know you're not. So I got to protect myself. That's my protection mechanism. Ali was more than just, to me, somebody that boxed in the ring. In the neighborhood, in the projects, 25th and Diamond, still there, North Philly. They ain't switching that no time soon.
Right, that ain't getting gentrified no time soon, right?
No.
Different subject.
We used to box and we want to wear the white shorts so nobody won't get blood on there. We wanted to make sure that we imitated Ali at any cost. Ali, the trash talking, everybody that I remember in my era, and I'm going back like 7, 8 years old, we all wanted to be Ali, the shuffle. As you go into the early teens and you start hearing this man speak and you start seeing the things he'd done, in those 60s era, right? 70s, still fighting. Larry Holmes was one of the worst beatings, but that encouraged me to see Ali at that time, the great Muhammad Ali. And I said the great Muhammad Ali, which I consider him greater outside of what he did in the ring. Stood up where it wasn't fashionable, it wasn't popular, not in boxing. And you also had basketball players and football players, the Jim Brown, who I met many times, and we had a lot of conversation, God rest his soul, in LA. Ali was just different. Ali was and is in history one of the, I believe, the athletes that will never be forgotten.
Ever.
His brand. I mean, I just got some new shirts. Ali, walk past in Florida, walk past the store, say, oh, they got some different Ali prints, some shirts. His brand went forward, $250 million, $250 million,
yeah.
Right? So Ali, just by that, his name, his daughters, his kids, let Ali, who represent at her era when she was boxing, Ali was just different. And one thing about Ali, he spoke, never waver, never second guess himself, and he went in there and most of the time did what he needed to do. And that's why I'm inspired by guys like that who made history. And again, they could be in any other sport, but when that stands out to me.
Of course.
Because most people don't go against the grain for good reasons. They don't.
Because we've already done an hour. I'm gonna do, and then I'm gonna do a pivot here. Smoking Joe Frazier, Philly.
Yeah.
Died with nothing. I saw that documentary of him. It crushed me because I learned more about his story. Mm-hmm. Obviously I wasn't alive when, I was a baby when he was with Ali and all that stuff. Right. When you see somebody like that from Philly, and there's so many stories. It's going back to the boxers, that have gotten fucked. And Joe Frazier and the list is just long. But just specifically Joe Frazier, as a fighter, as a fan of fighter, as a Philly person, just give some love and perspective on how great of a fighter and what Joe Frazier meant to boxing.
Us. Yeah, first of all, what he meant to Philadelphia and boxing was on the line of Ali in the ring and also being in the community. Ali obviously is different because Ali stood up for things that Joe was the opposite of, but they had the same mentality when it came to their community and the love of the sport. I met Joe Frazier. I trained him. My uncle, Artie McLeod, God rest his soul. He was my mother's brother who boxed regional middleweight, and the streets got him, but Artie McLeod took me to Gordon Glenwood. The gym is still there. It ain't open. The gym shell is still there. Still got Joe Frazier's name up there, right?
That building.
Wow. At Gordon Glenwood, it's still there. You can zoom it up on the internet, you'll see it. But Joe Frazier gym used to be open for his son, Marvis, who boxed, and all the pros. from Philly used to train there, and the ones that didn't live in Philly used to come there for work. Work that is boxing, sparring sessions.
Right.
It was like Gleason's in New York.
Right.
On steroids.
Right.
Right? That was the type of the gym in Philly. You come to Philadelphia, Joe Frazier gym, that's where you want to go. And there's 4 or 5 other gyms now. No disrespect, but it ain't disrespect. It is what it is. They going to Joe Frazier's. I met Joe, been around him, family, Jackie Frazier to the day. I carried the torch of Joe Frazier and many more that came through there. So when it was Joe Frazier, then it was Meldrick Teller, 84 Olympics. Let's not forget Mel. Let's not forget Meldrick Teller. The Olympic team was one of our best. Not to get off course what I was saying, that Joe Frazier, that, but look at the fruits of that blossom out of that. Look at the seeds that blossom myself. And Philadelphia is a big boxing history. New York was the rival. Like, okay, you're gonna go up here, then, but Philly had and still do have that Bruce Ennis who just lost overseas.
Garcia,
and Danny Garcia, my guy.
Man,
Rosado.
Come on, my guy.
Man. I brought him in, took him to camp, about 8 years, let him get the experience. Rosado came under me as a young guy that I usually use for energy at the end after I spar with 9 guys, put Rosado in. So Rosado and I built a relationship over about 15 years together. And that's until his last fight on the Golden Boy, I told him, job well done. You know what I mean? Because he did what he wanted to do. He didn't become champion, world champion, but at least he could say that he gave a sincere effort and beat people he ain't supposed to beat.
Especially at this point in his career.
Correct.
The heavyweight division, in my opinion, is a fucking mess. 6'3", 215 was trending the other day because somebody had a mugshot and they said they were 6'3", 215. The great Muhammad Ali fought in his prime of prime, 6'3", 215, 6'3", 220, 225. And then great fighter Lennox Lewis came along.
Oh, Lennox.
6'6", 240, 250. Then these fucking Klitschko's come along. These are like rock'em sock'em robots. Tyson Fury has proved himself to be way better than we talk about a body that'll clear.
Don't even look at the body and say whether you can fight or not. We know that ain't the case. No, I'm agreeing with you. You look at his body, you be like, hold up, I'm betting with this guy. I mean, with the other guy.
Shocking.
Correct.
If this is a good fighter.
Fundamental sound.
Relaxed,
and he know how to not only physically move around, good feet movement for a big guy.
Yes.
Works that jab.
Slips.
He agitate the mess out of you because he talks to you. He know how to promote himself in and out of the ring. And listen, when he fought Wilder the first time,
I was there.
I said, I'll never go against him again.
I'm
going to say that again. When he fought Wilder the first time, and he got up, and since then, you see what he's been doing.
A champion shit.
He'll beat Ugas, who I thought lost the other night.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Ukrainian, I believe.
Yeah. Yes.
He lost the other night.
Yeah, I agree.
Right? Joshua, I had high hopes.
But again, that's what I'm saying. With boom,
right.
boom.
I go down Madison Square
shit?
Garden and see Joshua. And that's, personally, he's a good guy. It's all right, but we're not talking about that.
I'm a good guy, too.
I know, but we saying this. I'm telling you that when you've been around this stuff long enough, you know who really got it. And it's not talent we all talking about. We're talking about is that other 2% that means everything. That means everything.
When you get bop, bop, and you get up off the canvas after, that was championship shit.
Or you fall short of a fight and you come back and you murder everybody next 10 fights you got. Like, he's on the terror. This is where you be like, oh, he learned from that.
My question to you, as a fan, as a promoter, the heavyweight division will never, the heavyweight championship of the world used to be something we knew who that person was. You know, it started going with Mike to Lennox, who was great, English speaking, although he was British, Jamaican. Then we got with the Klitschko's, who, you know, they're doing great things. Like for me, as a fan, I was like, this is not what I like to watch, man. Heavyweight division, this is Muhammad Ali or bangers like Ernie. And the heavyweight division is ruined. Can it be fixed?
Now,
and should they make it? Yes, it's ruined because to me, it's like there should be a cutoff point. It should be super heavyweight division. It got fucked up when you started, like, heavyweight shouldn't be, you get what is it, 220 and then like 370 pounds.
Or heavier.
What the fuck are we doing here?
Yeah.
This is when it got out of hand because they should have a right to fight.
There's no regulations in certain things that really, really bring integrity to the sport.
When they say, like, well, would Muhammad Ali be able to, like, Muhammad Ali's Mike Tyson. Okay, but when we say 220, Mike Tyson's 5, what is he, 6 feet?
Yes.
Mike ain't even 6 feet.
Mike about close to 5'11", maybe 5'10".
Mike in his prime, Joe Frazier in his prime. You can't fight a 300-pound dude.
No, but
this is where we're at.
they can walk in there like that, or at least close to it.
Mike in shape was 220.
Solid.
Right. In his best shape. So he had cut weight. But it's gotten, I think when 6'9", this should be okay. Well, then this is
super mid. It should be super heavyweight, like you said. It's because guys are coming, and it's an advantage and a disadvantage to the guys coming in at 215.
You have Muhammad Ali, 6'3", 215. That's a beautiful fighting weight.
That's a beautiful fighting weight, and that's a weight that the guy in shape, and he's a heavyweight based on the weight divisions,
and we're
in
still
a division,
and it's still athletic. It's a different. That's what really I think
athletic.
That's when things got really fucked up. And it's not disrespectful. They were just big dudes.
They didn't regulate the weight.
They should have done it then.
Bingo.
Is Jake Paul and what he's doing good for boxing or bad for boxing?
I don't think it's either. I'm not going to give you a political answer, which I just did, but I'm going to follow up on that. It's not neither. Jake Paul, fight style and what he's doing, to me, is entertainment, not boxing. It's not even UFC, of course, because they can't kick, they can't grab, they can't pin in a hold. This is entertainment. This is no different than a bar fight somewhere in the worst part of Brooklyn, if it's still left, or anywhere else in Philadelphia, North Philly, or South Philly.
It could be right around here, too.
Let me tell you, it's entertainment because Jake Paul, not hating, I'm just being honest. I've been asked this. Jake Paul is a entertainer who found something, capitalized on it, and started some confusion amongst the people that want to be confused for no reason. Because boxing, we know what boxing is. I hope you know what they bring and how boxing have went through a lot of transition in 80 to 100 years. What Jay Paul is doing as an entertainer before boxing, he attached both of them, which is a brilliant business move of entertainment. Make a lot of money. You see what they paying him. But it's not boxing. Why you think he haven't fought nobody that's really in any contention weight class that's noticed around the world?
Listen, I have been one of the biggest advocates of this is a bunch of bullshit. I'm just a fan.
It's entertainment. If you're
but
there,
for me,
you're there to look at the entertainment, it's entertainment. But when you say it's boxing, I got to disagree.
I don't care if it's in the movies, Rocky Balboa. I don't care if it's UFC, which I respect these motherfuckers. Right. I don't care if it's, pipsqueaks, 7-year-olds, or you guys.
Right.
Whether it was you, whether it was Jake LaMotta, Sugar Ray Leonard, Muhammad Ali, Larry Holmes, Aaron Pryor, anyone who's held a belt over their head, a lot of times they cry.
Mhm.
And I'm assuming they're crying because of the hard work, the dedication, the commitment, the struggle, the everything.
They made it. They made it.
To have this belt.
I'm champion of the world.
For me, as a fan of what you guys do, of the sport of boxing, even I could say even the sport of MMA, UFC, to see this guy walk around with a belt that he either paid for or he made and call himself the
Or
champ.
politics.
Give me a fucking break, man.
And that's the real dagger.
Give me a fucking break.
That's the real dagger in boxing.
If Jake Paul fought Canelo, is Canelo going to beat the shit out of him if that ever happens?
Yes.
Beat the shit out of him.
Would it
that's like,
would it sell? Because I think that's all they care about.
That's all they care about.
But at the end of the day, I see 2 rounds of Canelo's generous. That's not even a comparison.
But isn't it like Canelo's kind of like, I don't even want to acknowledge you because I went through this struggle.
Jay Paul's known around the globe. Canelo's known around the globe. That's all they promote.
Oh, come on. This will be ginormous. That'll be ginormous.
Crazy.
Were you disappointed when Floyd, what is Floyd, 150 pounds at his best? How much is Floyd Mayweather weigh at this point in his life? 150?
Probably close to 60.
160?
Yeah.
I mean, I wanted him to knock out his fucking brother. What's his name? Larry? Lolo?
Larry.
Jeff? I don't know what is it. And if Floyd can't do that, he's not a...
What do you mean for the fights?
When he fought Logan Paul, Logan fought him. I was saying fought.
Logan Paul. Right.
I said that with air fought.
Again, entertainment on a
I
different
know,
level.
but it frustrates me because when we go to the sport of boxing and fans of boxing and why boxing isn't there, this hurts it. In my opinion,
it does. It
does hurt it.
Let me tell you.
Because people will line up to watch this shit, including me. But then guys like, I was like, some of these fighters, like my man in New, how do you say his name? Now, the good fighter.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not even going to attempt saying his last name because it's like, for me, but I'm saying no disrespect, it fucks the sport up. And what I loved watching Aaron Pryor fight Alexis Arguello. This is a fight.
Yeah.
And now it's like the
those
younger
two
people are growing up watching Logan Paul versus Nate Diaz, who I love Nate.
And they're under the impression that
this is
guy's real.
That's what I'm saying, man. Okay. Quick hits. The best fighter you ever actually fought was this, and this.
Roy Jones Jr. 1993 RFK Stadium. My first championship attempt. Fell short by a split decision. RFK Stadium.
The best fighter you never got a chance to fight who was fighting during your time.
James Toney. He had just moved up to 160. I just fought for the vacant title that the IBF made vacant for the number 1 and number 2 contender, and that was with Roy Jones Jr., who I said again, beat me by decision.
The top 5 middleweights of all time, not including Bernard, the Executioner, the Alien Hopkins. Your top 5 middleweight fighters of all time.
Marvin Hagler.
Marvelous.
Marvin Hagler. Sugar Ray Robinson. I'm going to go with Carlos the Great Monzon. I'm also going to go with, he became heavier, but I'm going to go with Jake LaMotta back in the day.
The Bronx Bull, the Raging Bull.
Yo, I watch some old fights all the time. Bowie Fisher, old school. He used to give me those old fights. Tyson up in the Catskills. What do you think Tyson looked like back in the day? No socks. Scared the hell out of these guys. All right, I'm at Jake LaMotta. So let me go.
That's 4.
Hold up. Let's go with
Ding, pick one. Come on, Bernard.
Let's go with, I said Hagler, but I know, let me go with,
It's interchangeable like rappers.
All right. Let's go with Ray Leonard.
Not bad. Sugar Ray Leonard.
See, because I was fighting between Ray Leonard at 47, because I remember Ray Leonard didn't start. Hagler started at middleweight and at the pros, and he left as a middleweight.
Right.
So I'm trying to but Ray Leonard deserved to be, because he made history.
Yeah.
In that middleweight division.
Yes.
So Ray Leonard's in there.
Who are, outside of the guys you just named and excluding the great Muhammad Ali, who are, and again, I know you could list 50 off the top, but your top 5 favorite fighters you've ever watched, loved.
I got that.
Give me.
Muhammad Ali, Sugar Ray Robinson, Marvelous Marvin Hagler, Benny Kid Perrette, also very, very, very the best jab in boxing, Eastern Assassin, Larry Holmes.
Underrated. Blap. His whole thing was fucked up for what that, it wasn't his fault. They should have stopped that Ali fight.
He got punished for that.
I know. Everyone hated him.
Popularity. He got hated for that.
I hated that.
The Eastern Assassin.
He was nasty.
And I know people, they're going to see this and be like, yo, it's not a bad look, but they're going to be like, he threw it with somebody. Nah. Larry Holmes had a jab that would go in the front and go be back in your brain. Like, his jab was he had the best heavyweight jab to the day, as far as I'm concerned. I don't know no one right now that has a better jab than Larry Holmes.
We talked about Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder. Can you teach an old fighter new tricks? Deontay Wilder, with all that power, I felt like if he had some boxing skills, can you teach an old fighter?
No.
Why not? It's just habits.
You could teach him for that minute, but when the actions...
They could be in the gym all the time.
They've been in the gym all the time. When fight break out, they're going to go back to who they are.
Because if the pressure's on.
And you must believe who they are. They're telling you when they have to go to the trenches, get in the trenches and get to where they've been successful. I don't care what age they're, especially if they're older. They're going to go back to it, got them where they at. And that's where it stops, where you cannot teach an old dog new tricks.
This is my last question. What's the best punch that Bernard Hopkins ever threw?
Left hook. I'm pulling all the weight that way with your chin on the end of that left hand.
But wasn't the left hook, would you hit Oscar? Was that a left?
That was the left to the kidney. Well, liver.
So
it can come up or down.
But what was the single greatest punch you actually threw in a fight? Would it be that fight? Would that punch?
Yeah, it would be that fight. It would be
punch.
that fight. Yeah, and I also threw a counter right hand with Tito. It was one shot. I countered it. Tito threw a left hook, and I countered it. Pull back, not with my head up, but I pull back, and I threw the right hook. At the same time he missed, I connected.
That was the end of that.
And the punches you don't see, it's always the ones that get you. You know, the ones you don't see when the lights, you walk in, the lights just shut off, and next thing you know, you're hitting the refrigerator. Like, this like a punch. Like the punches that get you, it's the ones you don't see. I mean, you've been watching. I remember watching a fight, and the guy's telling this coach, I get in the next round, and he's actually putting the ice bag on him in the corner saying, hey, the fight's over.
Right.
It's like walking in a room and somebody hit the switch on you.
Right.
The punches that you're not prepared for. Like, you know it's coming because you got hit the round before, and you're like, okay, you can tense up for that. You still might get hurt, but the ones, and you just sleep, they the scary ones.
And that's when you think, we're going out for the next fight?
That's when you think you're going out for the next fight.
And that's when they start asking you, where are you?
Where are you?
And you're like, I'm in Sacramento. Like, nah, you're in Atlantic City, my man.
Exactly.
And it ain't Tuesday.
As a matter of fact, you're on the boardwalk of Atlantic City. You're not even in the ring. You're on the boardwalk of Atlantic City.
Right.
That's
fight was
scary shit.
2 days ago.
Exactly. Exactly.
The great Bernard Hopkins. We didn't, you know what? I'm so glad I mean, I know it's so fascinating for people, you know, like prison, jail, fighting in jail. We didn't talk about any of that. I love your story. I love your discipline. I love your evolution. I wish you nothing but the best. Bernard Hopkins,
Likewise.
the alien, the executioner, the businessman, the good eater.
Yes. It's a lifestyle. Remember, it's a
know.
lifestyle.
I know, Bernard, but
It's
you know,
not even a diet. Diet is the biggest hustle, right? But then
know,
again,
that's right.
it is. The diet is the biggest hustle.
because you
When
say
you
it's-
when this lifestyle, what is your lifestyle?
Well, okay, well, you're not asking them. I'm going to answer you. You know, sometimes Bernard, my lifestyle is sometimes my goddamn lifestyle, and I feel like I'm at like a
How many
Weight-
donuts you got in your
It's
car?
no fucking donuts, Bernard. What it is it could be either a game or it could be. You know, I love my reality.
You know
TV.
your reality TV.
Okay.
And you're eating snacks.
And I'm watching this shit. And I'm eating, and my wife is no help. My wife, though, she works out.
right.
She's got better
Right.
genetics.
She's trying to energize you
But
and
she's
motivate you.
we're eating that fucking the chocolate bars right now. That's so when you say the lifestyle, sometimes the lifestyle is part of. Sometimes chocolate is
problem.
part of my lifestyle. But I get what you're
But
saying.
it's good chocolate. She's good chocolate and it's bad chocolate. Stop going for the bad chocolate.
But it's not the good chocolate. It is not the bad chocolate. If you're eating 4 bars of
Is
it.
it that's where you have to have discipline.
But when you're saying the diets, it's like this should just.
I don't even use the word diet. It's a lifestyle. What is your lifestyle? That's your lifestyle. And again,
Not all the time.
It ain't gonna happen. It ain't gonna happen overnight. You gotta like you gotta look at yourself as you stepping away from what's not bad, what's not good for you, to what's good for you. And let me tell you, you're gonna feel better.
I know.
I
know.
You're gonna perform better.
I know.
If you know what I mean.
Yes.
So all these things are bonuses.
And you just feel good.
Let
you feel
that motivate
light.
you.
You fucking jump rope. I'm just-
Exactly. Just don't get out of hand and start doing this and swinging punches at somebody that's a real fighter. Then you realize that I just want to live healthy. I just want to live healthy. I just want to be healthy. I want to live healthy, and move on.
I'm gonna get a heavy bag in my. I don't want.
You don't have a heavy bag already?
New
I got
plate.
one in my garage. I keep a heavy bag.
You still hit?
Yeah, you got to hit.
So you didn't mention-
I just don't go in the gym. I don't box. I don't put gloves on and box with people and put a head.
But do you go in the gym and still like move around?
Because I have it right in my house. I go in my home, boom, and mess around and just to get the. I just want to look good in my suits now.
You look good.
You gotta look good in your suits, because if I look good in my suits, I don't have to get them taken in. I don't have to go spend money to get new suits. So not only I'm
34-inch waist?
Correct.
Do you work with fighters at all?
No, I don't have the patience.
What if
I'd
someone
rather
that you?
be-
What if somebody you know
I
has
do
the
advice
eye
though. I give advice. They ask
in
me,
the gym?
whether it's Golden Boy, non-Golden Boy fighters come to me all the time, like they should. Like people come to you for advice for things that they figure you understand or they know
Yes.
you understand. So I give them that. That's my duty.
But is it giving? Is it would it be physical advice or just like when I'm throwing? Would you
you-
go to the gym and
You
work?
see the energy I got. You think I'm gonna sit there and just talk? I gotta show them.
Right.
I don't go to the gym. I show them right there. Suit on, no suit, shirt, slacks. If we walk out of here and I right here in New York on a payment, and somebody say, "Hey, Bernard, show me," I would say, "Look, keep that chin down. This is where the nerve's at. Look, from here to here, you're vulnerable. I don't care who you are. Some people can take a better shot, but this is where the nerve's at. Of course, up here, your temple, or nerves too. Nerves. Keep that tucked in the shell like a turtle.
I look good.
You look good. I like a damn mug shot or something. That's it. But look, you got to keep that chin down, the hands here, and always be prepared
To run?
to counter. You
Not
got to
r-
put yourself in position to counter.
You talking
Because
in the
if-
ring?
In the ring, you got
In
to.
real life, run.
Oh yeah. If you're getting your ass kicked, you got to run. Before you get in your ass kicked, you gotta
Leave.
run. Leave.
My problem with running it, Bernard, is that I'm so.
Are you a good runner?
You're asking me that with a straight face?
Because I don't seem you a good runner.
I know. So that's the problem. I feel like if I ran from somebody that was trying to beat me up, they would be so insulted that I was trying to run that they would, because like it doesn't take much to catch me.
Right.
I mean, they would. I think that would put
They
me
would
in-
let you go.
No, I think they would chase me down and they would just have to trot. And then they would beat me up for trying to run away.
Right. They'd be like
What the fuck are you trying? Like,
Like,
what are
you
you
trying to-
like? You
and-
think this is gonna work? Like, they would take that as an insult.
You didn't even get a half a block, and you running, you sweating
So
like you
fucking
ran for
slow,
yeah,
Bernard.
yeah.
So fucking slow.
Yeah.
But I've always been slow. Here's what I'm gonna end this on, and you could appreciate that. I never lost a step because I never had it.
You never had it.
I am Rapaport Stereo Podcast with the champion, Bernard Hopkins. B. Hop, the alien, the businessman, the executioner.
Yes, sir.
This was fantastic. Can we cut that fucking arrow? I gotta use the bathroom. You gotta use the bathroom?
Yes.